Okay, this is going to be a medium length video probably. I just saw in the Facebook group that a young lady was asking how to optimize her cutting lines and cutting directions, and I'm not sure whether she's using VCarvePRO or not. She could be using a different package, but she's not one of my customers. She's in Europe and the UK, I believe. So I wanted to show how to do this in VCarvePRO because I've had to answer this a few times for my customers as well. Basically, my understanding is the machine, she had vectors that were 96 inches long, and she had items that were going, it was working down in the 96-inch direction, cutting, would lift up, come all the way back, catch the next vector, and do the same thing. So you have a full length of travel of the panel, but it's cutting in the air. So she wants it to go down, hop over the next vector, come back, cut, hop over the next vector, and cut the full length. So very easy to do in VCarvePRO, but it is hugely important to get good times out of your cuts as well. It doesn't affect the quality of cut in the bits that I was using. So I had made some architectural panels for a prospect for the machine here in Birmingham, and I did one panel as a test in the 48-inch direction, and then 11 panels, I think, in the 96-inch direction. So the panels came out beautiful. I was using MDF door material and a 3/8 inch roundover point tip bit. So it shows once you have everything adjusted, you have a perfect half circle all the way down the panel. So we'll get a look at the product and what it looked like first. And I had 11 panels in the 96 and one in the 48. And then we had we'll get into the software and show how to optimize these directions. Again, if she was using a different software package, that's fine. The point is, this is good to help my customers know what the software can do. So here we go. I'm working from home today because I've got a couple training sessions to do, and the internet speed is so much better here than at the complex. But I saw this post between sessions, and I wanted to just pop in and show one of the projects that I've done and how to optimize the cutting. This is it. This is basically a 3/8 inch rounding bit. Well, this is, I'm sorry, 3/16 to make a 3/8 inch bead. And that's a picture photograph, and we'll switch over to a movie. I'll run a movie so you can see this. This is in the full 96-inch direction. I've muted the video because I haven't posted it yet. So this is me explaining the setup, going edge to edge with it, and then cutting off the edge with a 1/4 inch down spiral probably. And I did leave some room at the ends for screwing this into the indexing jig that I use all the time. So I left roughly an inch so I could screw that in, but they didn't need it, but less than 90 inches, I forgot what the specs were. So I had plenty of room to just screw it in on one end, use the other end. I used a stop in the dog hole, and then some wedges that I cut out of Corian scraps, and that holds the whole thing, and so it just goes to town. This took a while to cut. I don't remember the cut times. They're in the videos, but I'll eventually post this video. But it creates a lot of MDF debris, so you want to use a better dust collection than probably hooking up through the factory one. I usually use my 4-inch dust collector on this. Not sure why I'm not in this particular video, because I did use it. But this thing just ran and just let it run, and you can see if any of these lines are out of plumb and out of square, it shows up like a sore thumb, and these panels looked great once they were done. It did take probably boogered 2 panels while I was setting the depth of cut and adjusting things, because the first times I cut them, it was not deep enough because the panel wasn't entirely flat. So I went a little deeper on everything, and it worked fine. Actually, I do remember why I didn't have the 4-inch dust collector on that one. I had 2 machines running at the same time, so I could get these panels knocked out because I had someone coming in for a demo on a Saturday, and I wanted to get the panels done before that so they could be picked up and out of the shop. We didn't get them picked up in time, but got them all cut and finished in time. So for this example, I'm not going to do a 48 by 96 inch panel. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to do a 12 by 12, 3/4 inch deep, orienting from the top of the material and the bottom left corner of the material. And I'm going to just draw a single line, and we're going to start going through the training on it. So if I wanted this to be, say, from here to here, and I'm going to close it. So that's just a single line. Now, what probably many folks haven't done is you haven't gone into node editing where you select the line, hit the right button, and go to node mode. And this will show you where the start of that line is. So the green is the start, the black is the finish. So if I were to just have it toolpath it, I'll do an 1/8 inch depth of cut with a 1/4 inch spiral, that's fine. On the line, that's fine. And just have it do its thing. The issue is, where are we going to start? Do I let it optimize the start points, or I keep my dictated start points? Or do I move the start points to the closest selected based on how I'm telling it to order things here? There's a lot of power in this. So I'm just going to let it start that way and just see how it does it. So we'll calculate it. It opens up, and so it's going to start here, although that was my finish point on the line, and do the work, come on up and be done. So if we reset the preview, preview all, and there's the cut from bottom to top in this direction, in this case. So let's go back in and do the pop open the 2D view as well. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to get out of node mode by hitting the right button or typing N and hitting the right button, sliding down to exit node mode, or hit the letter N to turn that off and on. So there's different ways to do this. Say she had, like my architectural panels, I'm going to have them spread out a little more for the example, but I'm going to do an array where it's going to take that, and I want it to be one row, but 4 columns separated by 2 inches. Okay, so that's that. And I don't care about filling the panel. It just takes longer to simulate everything. And when I did this, I can turn this on to group the objects or not. I did. So these are all one group. If I touch one of them, it highlights all of them. If I hit the right button to go to node mode or hit N, it doesn't let me because they're all grouped. So I would ungroup them. So now they're not grouped, but they are all copies of each of the first one, with the start points up here. So if I jump back over and let it optimize again, just have it recalculate and select all of them by group capturing from right to left, anything that's touching inside my boundary box. So I've selected everything moving from right to left. Anything inside that boundary box is selected. I tell it to recalculate. And there we are, we're finished. I reset the preview and preview all, and it went up and down and up and down. So that did what we wanted in an optimized manner. But how did we get there? So if we look at that, if we touch them individually in node mode, they're all the starting points are at the same area. Now I can come through here, and while I'm in node mode, I can come down here and hit the right button on the end point, hit the right button once I'm in node mode and say make that the starting point. So now I'm flipping the starting points, and I come down here and do it manually. And then I can recalculate because the lines are already there. I must select the vector, so I'm going from right to left. Anything inside that box is selected, but I'm in node mode, so I want to get out of that, so I'm going to hit N. Now they're all highlighted, and I say calculate. And again, the setup looks good. I'm going to preview and preview all. Up, down, up, down. That's correct. But how did we get there? So if I look, I'll let that call go to voicemail. Sorry, I'm going to finish the video. So if I look at this, when we come down here, we can look at the order, and it's under the vector selection order. But what's important here is this start at. So if this was set left to right, right to left, start at could be move start points to closest. You know, again, it could be anywhere on how you have it set up. So just want to check these. And this is what my understanding is she was doing. She was coming up, cutting down, traveling back up, coming down, traveling back up, cutting down. And that travel time is going to kill you time-wise. There's no need for it, depending on the bit and whether it has to be a climb cut, conventional cut, or it doesn't matter. In this case, with the roundover bit, it didn't matter. I was cutting both sides of the profile. So this was her action. And that was a lot of wasted time in the air, so we don't want that. I'm going to go back into it. And just play with these values so that you can get an idea of what they do. I'm going to start at, keep the current start points, and the order is going to be vector selection, calculate, and there we are. Turn that on, we'll reset the preview, and preview all. Cut, cut, move over, cut. And again, I'll slow it down a little bit. Reset, preview all. Cuts going up, jumps over the next vector, cuts coming down, lifts up, goes to the next vector, cuts up. So again, if the spacing on these were much tighter, again, it's all set up in how you do your array in the spacing, we get that. And then it's all controlled here on the toolpathing side under some of the tabs that we don't use all the time, the order and the start at. So that's how we did. Quick change, and that works wonderfully in VCarvePRO. I sell and support the Yeti SmartBench in North America, in the US, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I do a lot of training with my customers. It's important that the software be understood to make the products that we all need to make with the SmartBench. So feel free to give me a call at 205-871-6618. That's 205-871-6618. And that's www.yetismartbench.com. yetismartbench.com. Thanks.